I'm Paula Kelly. I'm the Reader Development Manager here at the State Library of Victoria, and I welcome you to the Children's Book Festival for 2012, to a very special event. And it's very special for us right here in the room now because we have Australia's first Children's Laureates with us here today. I think we should give them a very warm welcome. Boori Monty Pryor and Alison. This is a very special moment for us because, of course, 2012 is the National Year of Reading. Did you know that? Yeah, there's some nods, thank goodness, across the room. That's fantastic. And of course, the National Year of Reading is really about raising our awareness right across the country for reading and its importance in our lives. And it's at a time when 46% of Australians don't meet level 3 literacy standards, which is an appalling statistic for a country like ours. And that's really a timely focus for us to be thinking about reading promotion, literacy and reading for both pleasure and information. Boori and Alison were named the first Children's Laureates for our country late last year, and they were both present for a fantastic launch event in Adelaide, and I'm sure they'll talk to us shortly about that. But I just want to tell you that this has came about after many years of hard work from a number of people to really advocate for reading for young people and to have an opportunity to create a Children's Laureate or a reading advocate position whereby this would be part of our national landscape. And these very, very special children's book creators are with us today to tell us about their work and their experiences as Australia's first Children's Laureates. Boori Monty Pryor, his work has spanned decades, of course, and many of you will recall the fabulous award-winning books of Boori's, including My Giragunji, Maybe Tomorrow, and of course the most recently lauded book, which is Shake a Leg, and that won the Prime Minister's Award last year. Pretty important. Yeah, that does deserve a round of applause. And I might add a very handsome prize along with that too, and we certainly are very proud that we launched that book at the State Library of Victoria before the awarding of that prize as well. Boori's an advocate of his own people, but also about how reading and literacy particularly does change lives. At the launch of the National Year of Reading earlier this year in Canberra, Boori was there with Prime Minister Julia Gillard, and at that time Boori said, reading is a way to survive. It's like traditional hunting. With hunting, if you don't listen and learn from what other people tell you through their stories and by letting them take you to special places, you won't survive. Literacy is similar. We're going to make a better nation if we can all read and write. Alison, unfortunately, at that time, at the National Year of Reading, sort of fortunately for her, but unfortunately for us, she was not on a holiday, and not a usual old holiday, but certainly visiting her beloved Antarctica, where she has travelled for several times now in her quest for helping to preserve and respect the delicate environment there, as well as to showcase the very special life forms and landscapes that she encounters. She's best known for her work depicting family experiences, including those set typically in Australian settings. Alison has also won many awards for her significant collection of books that she's been the creator of, and they also include the most recent One Small Island and also the National Year of Reading's book, which is the featured book for the year, called Are We There Yet? There's also an exhibition that's touring the country displaying this original work from that book, and it'll be in Melbourne late this year. So check out all that information about both the laureates. We're going to talk some more to them now, but on their website, the children'slaureate.org.au website, or on the Love to Read website, which is the National Year of Reading's website. So enough from me. We've really come to hear Boori and Alison, not me rave on. So we'd really like to hear about what they've been doing as Children's Laureates so far. So maybe Alison, would you like to start and tell us how that's going?
Well, I guess mine started last week. The first library I went to for the year actually wasn't organised as part of the Laureate, but it was the Yarra Junction Library, which I just went to visit for a friend, so that was lovely. But the real thing started here on Thursday, where I had a group of kids from St Joseph's in Springvale come in the morning, and then a group of kids from Carlton Primary School in the afternoon. And both these none of these kids from these schools had very much, like they wouldn't have a lot of money in their families, and they were just fabulous kids, just brimming with excitement and potential. So that was wonderful working with them. I'm they all made postcards of a place they love, which was lovely, and I'm hoping that I can use some of them in the project that I will do as my laureate.
Fantastic.
And then, sorry.
No, go on.
And then on Friday I came here again and spoke to kids from Alphington Primary School, and then in the afternoon went to the Royal Children's Hospital and did some artwork with kids there, and that was just absolutely overwhelming and very humbling. Met some beautiful kids and their wonderful parents who were all battling on in hard times.
That's certainly long-term illness is a situation that as parents you don't want to have to face that one too often in your lives. Alison mentioned getting kids to create postcards, and certainly that is part of the National Year of Reading's campaign, is that there's a competition in which you can create a postcard to highlight your family, your favourite family holiday, and win some terrific prizes. So again, on the Love to Read website you can have a look at that. Yeah. What about you, Boori? You have been everywhere, man. Where have you been most recently? Because we have a hard time tracking Boori down, I have to say.
Hello, everyone. That wasn't very good. We'll try it again. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Boori.
That's better, just to make sure that you're with us here. I just flew across from Adelaide. Isn't that really cool? Because I was here in Melbourne, then I had to fly across to Adelaide, come back the week and work for a week, and then drive over. Then I had to come back, fly back, and then I'm driving back next weekend. What's going on? No, but I love working with, or I work with, for the last 20 or so years I've been travelling all across Australia working, and I've worked with over 1 million children. That's a lot. Really, I'm 25 years old, but I don't look it. See, that's what I meant, working with that many children. And working and trying to write and do stuff. I was just talking with Andy at the back, and did he say a year off to write?
I think so, yeah.
Something like that. And I'm going, whoa, you lucky thing you, because I'm trying to write in between working. But also for me, working with all different age groups, that gives me a really good perspective on what to write and how to actually say things without trying to say them like I know what I'm saying, if you know what I mean. Because if you write for children like a child, then it's not going to work. But if you write from a storytelling, for me, as a storytelling point of view, so in other words, I get to actually workshop all my stuff with the kids, and they say, chuck out that sucks, and you so kind of go, okay then, and then you try this, because little ones like that, they suffer no fools. If you sit down and you look like you're talking to them and at them and not with them, they'll look at you and go, you suck, we're going. And they'll get up and walk out. And you go, okay then, what am I going to do? So you have to really look at yourself and work harder to understand those situations. So I suppose for me, that's how I work. We all work in differently, and I'm not an artist, Alison is. I can join the dots. Now, what we're doing in Adelaide is, as the laureate, I get to actually now understand and see what other people actually get from what I've been doing. Because I remember I went to Blackfriars in Adelaide, and there was a teacher there, and she goes, you came and I talked at my school, and I was 13, and I sat down in the audience, and I can't remember exactly what you said, but I was like knocked out. I went and got all your books and read them all, and then now you come to the school that I'm at. So I thought that was really good. And then she said that now the kids have a chance to see what she got. And, it's like, it was that long ago that she was thinking, oh, he's this and that, and he's lovely. And she goes, he probably sucks, and I was only 13. But she goes, no, but you lived up to your rep. And I went, sure, thank good for that.
Lucky for that, Boori, indeed.
So that's what I'm getting as a laureate, is now that I've got Justine. Where's Justine's here somewhere? I don't know, she might have gone out. But she's handling the laureate thing. And we've got a blog, a laureate. We've both got a blog, and you get on and you can put on, all the kids are putting on their artwork. And
that's
what
right.
So what I'm seeing now is the laureate, now that I get to see the devastation that I've caused as I've gone around Australia. So it's only started over the last couple of months, so I'm really excited about that. So as the laureate, but and I just reckon that we all need to have reading and writing, and it's all about the circle and people inside the circle that we target, but we miss the ones that are outside the circle. So what we've got to do is make alterations to make the circle bigger so that we can actually fit the ones that, can you understand what I mean, is that are outside the circle. Because this young boy with Asperger's, he in years 5 and 6, he made up this DVD that me coming to his school, hopefully it'll be on the website, and he said that was his way of writing.
Yeah,
so you know
fantastic.
what I mean, it's like, so we've got to actually allow for that, and I think that's what I see when I work with that many kids and these little ones here. And I use Shag-a-Leg the book, and it's really cool because you would put your hand up, parents and teachers and grandparents, put your hand up. You would actually be going back to school if you could do this. We dance and do the dances if I'm at the school. Then we make crocodile pizzas.
It's fantastic
Then
what he does with
milkshakes.
them. It's great.
Put your hand up if you'd like to go back to school now. So I see what I mean. And you see, that's what I'm talking about being in the circle, is that we use that to get them to read and write and to actually paint. And so that's the journey that I use. And Al, we all have a different, Andy has a different.
And it's also the journey, Boori, that you used to actually create this book, wasn't it? I know there's a story of Boori talking about with Jan Omerod, who's the other collaborator on this picture book that was created, where you were having breakfast together and looking at some photographs of some kids that Boori had been doing dancing with in Western Australia in one of the remote communities. And again, when Boori's talking about widening that circle, he's talking about going out to remote areas, and Alison and Boori are both well known for going into very remote communities in Australia to work with those kids. So tell us about that, Boori, what happened with those photographs and how you and Jan came up with this story, and perhaps tell us a bit about this picture book, because the listeners may not know that particular book yet.
Well, also, and when you do picture books, this is my first picture, Al's an expert at picture books, but I wasn't going to do a picture book because all I did was have the photos. And there's a Laura Festival, which we have every 2 years, it's on next year. And I took some photos. I went to London after that and came back, and then I was a bit jet-lagged and went to Fremantle. You know what, Anna, did you know this, that the Fremantle Children's Literature Centre is in the old jail? How
It's
cool
pretty
is that?
spooky, actually.
So when you go into the jail, I tell the kids this, kids, put your hand up, kids. When you go over there and you go to the Literature Centre, you know what happens? It's in the jail. And you go in there and they shut the door. They still got like the gun towers and guard towers, but they haven't got guards up there. They've got librarians.
Much scarier.
What are you trying to say about
Much
us librarians,
scarier.
Boori?
And if you make a run without reading a book, you get hit with a book.
That bit's not true.
That's not true, but I made that up. So I go in there, and I got these pictures, and Jan Omerod. Now, Jan was really famous. I didn't know she was famous. She didn't know I wasn't famous, and we got on famously. And you know what? I had these pictures, and she had a hat on, and she was going out. I said, where are you going? She said, I'm going out to lunch. She said, what are those? And I showed her. She said, oh my goodness. She put them on the table. She said, these are beautiful. Do you mind if I paint them? I said, I don't care, I'm going to sleep. And I went to sleep about 4 or 5 hours later. I woke up. She had all these pieces of art on the table, had the music going. And I walked out and I said, these are beautiful, would you love to do a book? And she said, let me think about that. Yes. And it took me 5 minutes to work out a story, her 3 months to do the storyboard, and me 3 months to write the story. It took us 3.5 years to do the book. And it has all of that energy in it, because I think usually when you do a picture book, is this right, Al? Is that you do the story first and you get an illustrator, is that right?
Although you do both, Alison, of course. So tell us about your process.
Well, when I think of a story, and it can come from anywhere, I think the funniest beginning I've got for a story is an old jumper I used to have that was a green fluffy jumper, and the label on the back was Kissed by the Moon. I think it's a New Zealand label. And I thought, wow, wouldn't that be a lovely title for a kid's book? And so, yeah, it's the book that started off as a jumper. And I've turned it into a book called Kissed by the Moon, A Baby's Blessing. So it's a book that you would give to a newborn baby, and in it you're listing all the things that you hope the world will do for your baby. So it's
beautiful.
like, may your baby wake up to bird song, may your baby be warmed by the sun, may your baby be washed in the river, and so on, until... It's a bit more interesting, though. It sounds pretty daggy when I'm talking about it. And then the final one is, and may your baby be kissed by the moon.
Beautiful.
So an idea can come like that, but then when I think about it, I can actually see what I want the pictures to look like. So mine evolves in a slightly different way.
Yeah, and tell us about this book, One Small Island. This is an amazing book about Macquarie Island. If you folks haven't had a chance to have a look at that book yet, it's a beautiful picture book that traces some of the challenges of Macquarie Island. So tell us about your journey and what's this Antarctica, the love of Antarctica that you have, and this book in particular.
Well, I've always been pretty keen on Antarctica. Like, I love the slides and the heroic stories I'd heard. And then in 2005, I applied for an Antarctic. I applied in 2004, and I won an Antarctic Arts Fellowship to go to Antarctica. And
there you go. If you really want to go to Antarctica, folks, that's the thing to look for.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to go to Antarctica, if you're something like a diesel mechanic or a cook or a builder or a plumber, you can get a gig, or a scientist. But if you're any sort of artist, like a writer or a poet or a musician, you can apply for an arts fellowship, and it is a wonderful way to get there because you go not as a tourist but on a working ship. So to do your project, you have to have like something you're going to do. And I said, because like Boori, I travel around Australia all the time, I had contacts in lots and lots of schools, so I said I'll go down there as the eyes and ears of kids around Australia. So every night of the 6-week voyage, I sent an email to kids describing what was happening, and I got them to draw in response to my emails and send me their drawings, and then I used those drawings to make an exhibition called Kids Antarctic Art, which is really the kids' line work and my colour and design. And if you go online, you can see it at alisonlester.net or .com, and it's there, it's an interesting thing to see. And because it took me a couple of years to do it, I could never claim any profits because it wasn't just mine, but I couldn't track down all the kids who'd helped me, so all the profits go to the Royal Children's Hospital. So it's been a nice project that's just kept on going because the artwork is still selling and it's still having exhibitions. But on that voyage, we stopped at Macquarie Island on the way back. It was an Antarctic Division resupply voyage. So we first went to Mawson, which took 2 weeks to get there, like right across the Southern Ocean, and then stopped at Macquarie Island on the way back. And Macquarie Island lies about halfway between Australia and New Zealand. And a lot of you have probably seen beautiful photographs of it showing all the sea elephants and penguins on the beach and all the mega herbs. Like, it's an exquisite place. When I got there, I was shocked to see that the vegetation was almost chewed to the ground because the island was overrun with rabbits. So Coral Tallick, who's a dear friend of mine, had been to Macquarie Island a couple of times too, and so we decided we might do this book together that was a book about the story of Macquarie Island. It was only discovered in 1810, so it's probably one of the last islands that was ever discovered on Earth. And within 10 years, it had almost been destroyed. The sealers had gone down there and wiped out the fur seal population and introduced the rabbits, which eventually ate the island. And in a happy ending, over the last couple of years, they've had a huge eradication program. They've got rid of all the rats, rabbits and mice. So the island is coming back to its beautiful self. And Coral and I thought we could do a book that could be like an analogy for the whole world, of the places that we need to heal. And I think we tried to say this in the last page, which says, it's a little bit stuck together, Macquarie Island is only a tiny part of our big world, but it is important to care for all our precious places, no matter how small or far away they are. For if we can save one small island, perhaps we can save them all. And there's a picture of the island with that albatross coming back to it. It is
an inspiring story, and I think that's the hallmark of both of your work, is that there is always sort of some hopeful message there, in a way, to the work that you do. You are, both of you, eternal optimists, which is a great thing in children's book creators.
Aren't you all out there, you optimists, eh?
It's the only way to live, isn't it? Indeed. So tell us, speaking of optimism and fun times, memorable moments. Boori, what's a memorable moment for you in terms of your life as a children's book creator that would come to mind?
Well, there are lots, because I'm pretty sure you've all got stuff that kids say to you, and that kind of, you go, oh, that calm you down. And there's a lot of things that they do that stir you up, but there's lots of great things that they say and you go, oh, that's so beautiful, you know, and you feel healed. And I think that's probably it. I think, I suppose understanding the children as healers, you know, because they all are, even though they give you a lot of devastation sometimes. Put your hand up and you reckon that that's true.
Two-edged sword, folks, isn't it?
But then they like heal you, and it's. I think those moments, there are lots of those that are with working with children, and you kind of like, you stop and you kind of go, oh my goodness, that's, you like kissing the moon. It's kind of like that. It's like
there's a magic in that. And certainly in this book, Shake a Leg, Boori, you're trying to capture a lot of cultural difference and bringing together, particularly, I mean, those people who don't know the book, it's covering really Italian culture, I suppose, and bringing in Indigenous culture and dance as well as food and music from both those cultures and seeing where they meet in the middle and coming up with some very happy contemporary kind of mixing of those things.
Well, I think that's right, because who loves pizzas here?
Yeah.
Who loves eating pizzas?
Yeah.
Who loves eating more pizzas?
Yeah.
Who loves milkshakes?
Yeah.
Well, that's the hook in there, is that, and it's also there's Aboriginal language and Italian language, and you love this. You know where I got the idea for the book? Is I went to see a movie called Kill Bill 2.
Who's seen that?
Well, don't go and see it, kids, all right? Kids,
Tim
don't go and see
Pegler,
it.
of course, he's seen it.
I recommend that you don't go and see that until you're about 50, all right, kids? Now, there's lots of tomato sauce in there, but I love, and there's tomato sauce in there, but I really love the fact that Tarantino mixes his genres up. And so here I've got a black fella making pizzas, and three boys walk up to the window looking for some pizza, and I look through the window and there's a black fella standing there singing "That's amore." They go, "What's going on here?" So the whole point of the story is that, you know, he went to Italy for 2 whole years to learn how to make the sauce, which he gave credibility to that. He stayed with the family. I had 2 Italian people working on the book with me to verify the language and the sauce. And and I think the whole, you know, it says, everybody, you say this, you say, if try it again. If you want to know how to make the best sauce, you must go to the source. And I talk about that in the book.
You're a librarian underneath that skin of yours, Boori.
Yeah, I'm protecting librarians to leave them alone, okay? So imagine that, having no librarians. Because I go into libraries all the time. I know you are all, but you know, you walk in and I sit down and have a cup of tea, and the kids come in and go, "Is it open?" Yeah, okay. And you see them sit down, throw the book on the floor, sit around it. It just warms your heart. They say, "Well, look at this. And if you close that off and just have machines in there where they go, that kind of sucks. So leave librarians alone.
Actually, don't leave us alone. Just cheer for us some more.
I mean,
in fact,
cheer
Alison,
for them, but I'm talking about the government. Leave them alone, not you guys. You know. So who reckons that the librarians are really important? Put your hand up. Teacher librarians are really important. I think they are for your little ones here, because it's that interaction that makes it. That also just gives that lovely flavour to the room. You know, there's this. You hear the voices and the kids talking and all the, like, 'cause I did a week up in. A week at a school up in Sydney, and we were sitting in the library, and she had to do this like interview, and she was going through, what did the kids think? And she's in the library. "Joseph, come over here. What did you think about Boori being here?" And he goes, "Okay." And Mary, what did you? So she got all these quotes from all these kids to put them. So I mean, that's really cool. I loved it because of this, and you wouldn't have that with no people working in there. So I think that's really, if you kind of say no, you just have laptops and all these, that kind of really defeats the purpose of who we are as humans and interacting with each other. Don't you think?
Yeah, so, that's what it's about. It's putting the right book in the right hand at the right time. That's for sure. And Alison, I know that's been one of your great crusades as a laureate to advocate for libraries in schools and for, you know, people who do know about the books and how to promote them, being in those spaces for young people.
It just seems a no-brainer to me that, like, I'm not ever sure on the facts, but I think at the moment, in state schools anyway, it's really up to the school if they have a librarian or not, and if they haven't got enough money to go, and often that's the one that misses out. So really, it should be a thing that's funded by the government, that every school has a librarian. You know, like, it seems to me so crazy that at the moment the government are paying to have armed guards on railway stations, and they're taking away funding from things like the early reading program, where every baby that was born in Victoria got a book. Like, it's just like a no-brainer that you should be actually educating educating people so you have less violent people on railway stations than doing it the other way around.
And certainly we know that early investment and that return on investment is a really important thing that governments can get involved in, for sure. Very important work that both our children's laureates are doing on that front, as well as their own work as book creators as well. And speaking of which, so what's next? Just before I ask this last question, if you've got questions, you'll certainly have a chance to ask those of Boori and Alison in a moment too, but I'm interested to know what's next, Boori, for you as a book creator and or what's next as a laureate?
Well, I suppose as a laureate, because I do travel around anyway lots. The last 3 to 4 weeks I've worked with in Adelaide, 3 weeks I'll be working with about 3,000 to 4,000 children. Who reckons that's a lot?
That's a lot, folks.
So, and all varying...
Prime Minister, Boori.
You could.
Give him a few years till they can all vote.
I should, shouldn't I? That'd be called the first black Prime Minister.
Woohoo.
That'd be cool.
Eat your heart out, Obama.
Yes. We could be brothers. Anyway, so what I'm as the laureate, I suppose, similarly to what I'm doing anyway, but more so now I've got a big laureate stick and I can poke at people and prod and it's kind of like say things.
Provocative things.
Well, I think probably because I work at that base all the time, that I actually do know what I'm actually talking about, because that's what I actually do every day. I work with the little preschoolers through to high school so I think on that level to promote that everyone in this country, to make this country better, must read and understand read and write. Mm-hmm. So on that point, yes, I'm still pushing that and working really hard at that as the laureate, but just as a human being, I suppose. But on the other sense, there's a second book coming up, women's business, called Shake a Leg Nolpa, which is women's business dancing, and the three mums of the three boys in the story come up looking for the kids, and then Gemma takes them out the back, and there's this all the women are outside dancing outside the fire, making damper and tea. And then the last book is that they all go back to Italy, and it's about sacred sites. So they're the three books. Imagine that, the three little black fellas are lying down on the floor looking up at the Sistine Chapel going, no, you reckon he done it. No, you reckon he done? No, they both done it. Then you have the chef lying down here looking at 18, 20,000-year-old paintings up home that my people put on there that long ago and say, what's a quinkin? Yeah. So it's about not saying that any is better, but just saying for us, all of us in this room, in this country, to say we have an amazing history here. Let's actually look at it, grasp it, and become part of it and belong to it and become stronger. So that's what I'm actually trying. Without preaching, it's just a story.
Beautiful, Boori. And Alison, for you, what's next for you?
Work-wise?
Yes.
Well, I've finished a book which is coming out soon, which is really nice, and it's more Antarctica. So people are kind of going, oh my God, when's she going to get over this? But it's really the journal of me going to Antarctica, but instead of it being an adult banging on about going to Antarctica, I made it a little girl called Sophie Scott, who goes to Antarctica because her dad is the captain of the icebreaker.
Nice.
So that's been lots of fun, turning myself into Sophie Scott, who's turned out to be a pretty good kid, yeah, so that was nice. And work-wise, tomorrow I'm heading up to Shepparton to work there for the day.
Alison's going on tour now as the Children's Laureate throughout a couple of, far-flung places for us in Victoria.
Mildura, Geelong and Ballarat over the next few days, so
fantastic.
That should be lots of fun.
Good stuff. Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
Is there any questions from the audience before we wrap up? Because I'm getting the wrap-up, signal from Seb over there. Any burning questions? Alison and Boori, I think you're both going to be in the book signing area afterwards. You have been earlier. You've got a question?
You're stretching. No, it's okay.
Oh, maybe she's got a question. No. Yes?
Oh, up the back there's one right there with the hand up.
There we go.
Yes.
Toby Kelly.
What would you like?
I didn't plan this.
Who's the author and who's the illustrator?
Well, we're both authors.
Yeah.
But Al is the illustrator.
Yeah, I'm an author and an illustrator.
Yeah, so author and illustrator, I'm just an author.
I don't think you ever get to say just an author, though, Boori.
Well, I'm a storyteller then, okay.
Indeed. Any other questions, folks? Look, it's been so lovely to have you with us.
Anybody,
one more?
Just one more?
Yes,
yeah, got one, yes.
Thank you.
Sorry, here you go.
My Farm. We're asking a question about one of Alison's books,
the
My
book,
Farm.
My Farm, was that autobiographical? Was that entirely...
It pretty much all happened, but it's partly what happened to me when I was a little kid and then things that my children did, so I don't think I ever had such a busy year as that one.
It's a fantastic book if you haven't read it, about a year on a farm, and certainly a lot of Alison's books do seem to trace a lot of your family activities and so on. Folks, we're going to have to stop there, unfortunately, for today.
Do you want to come take a photo? Come on up and take a photo.
Thank you so much for joining us, and please thank our Children's Laureates. And again, as I said to you earlier, if you want more information, lovetoread.org.au for the National Year of Reading, but also on the Children's Laureates website, if you look up Google Australian Children's Laureate, you will be able to trace these two guys over this year and next year on their journeys across Australia. So thank you again.
No, everything we're doing.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.